Hello guys, thank you so much for clicking onto this video. Welcome to my channel. I am Grace Ekambi. Today I'm going to take you through the process of my visa application. If you're watching this video today, it means that I got my visa. Yay! And I am already in the UK. Yay! Yeah, and now I wanted to take you through the process and make you maybe just understand a tad bit of what this process entails. First things first, you need to apply for a visa. Duh, that's why the video is here, Grace. Anyway, what do you need to do to get your visa application started? Starters, you go and search gov.uk. That's the first thing you search online. It will take you to this site. Of course, if it's Google search, it will take you to Google, and then you click on welcome to gov.uk, and then there's a search button over there. In that search button, you just put UK visa and search. It's gonna give you a lot of results, but what we currently need is to know how to apply for a visa and if we really need a visa in the first place. So the first thing is to choose a visa that we need. I personally needed a visitor's visa because I'm traveling to just visit UK. So I am looking for a visitor's visa, which is valid for 6 months basically. So I'll click onto that, just scroll in, scroll down, get to know a little bit about what you're getting yourself into. See if you're eligible for the visa itself. And if you are, then you can click start now. They will ask you what the nationality of the passport is, fill in your country, which is Kenya, and we continue. I am looking for a tourism or visiting family and friends visa, so I will continue. Will I be traveling with or visiting either your partner or your family member? For me, it's no. Yeah, and then apply for a standard visa. That is what I'll go for. That will be the overview. So again, read to understand. As you can see, I went back and now I actually clicked on visit the UK as standard visitor and clicked on that, and then I scrolled down. You need to check your eligibility. I think I mentioned that already. Once you figure that you're eligible and you have the finances to support your application, you click apply now, and then you have to select the language that you prefer to use. I chose English. Select the country where you'll provide your biometrics. Biometrics include your face, your photograph, and your fingerprints. So they will definitely take a picture of you at the biometric center and they will take fingerprints. I chose Kenya because that's where I am based. There are a lot of TLS contacts, and the one in Kenya is based in 9 West, Westlands, and that is where you will in the end go and drop your application as you drop your biometrics, if there's a word like that. Click next. You need to know if you need a TB test. If you're applying for the 6 months visa, you don't really need a TB test because they say you don't need it. Which was good for me because I don't have to stress on working towards getting that done. Phews. Yeah, so I didn't need that, so I just went straight ahead and started my visa application. Click start now. We're officially beginning an application because I'd done this before, so it was asking me if I need to do this again, but I don't. So yeah, for you guys, it won't bring this. So now they tell you to start. Once you start, there's a whole process, a lot of questions that they'll ask you. Of course, you start by creating an account because you don't have to do this visa application process in one sitting. I did it in the course of like 3 weeks. So create your password, put it safe somewhere so that you can remember it every time you need to log in. It's easy to just get back to your application and continue. So they will ask you for your details, your name, everything. I'm not going to take you through all that because I didn't think of recording it when I was going through the process myself, but it is pretty standard. Let me see if I can get my file and take you through it. I always file my applications, my visa application that is, This is a lot of them. There's the US visa, that's my Switzerland visa, that is my Schengen visa for the last trip that I had in Greece, and now this is the UK visa application. So thank God I have this, so I don't have to go to the computer and do it. Anyway, so maybe I can tell you some of the questions they'll ask. Let's see. They will start with your personal information. I'm looking at my application, that's why I'm looking down. They'll start with your personal information, so your name, your passport number, your nationality, your date of birth, your travel information. They will ask questions like the reason for your visit. Is it an organized trip? What are you trying to achieve with this visit? They'll ask you to give a short itinerary of your trip. So I did mine down there. They'll ask you to put the dates of when you're planning to go and arrive in the UK, and when you're planning to get out of the borders of the UK, because if it's a visitor's visa, you can't stay there forever. Like I said, the standard is 6 months. It's advisable that you don't stay there for longer than the period that is given on your visa. That is really important. Do not stay longer than your visa. If you're supposed to exit that country on the 10th of September, please exit on or before the 10th of September, not 11th at midnight, because that will be you overstaying. Even if your flight is maybe the next day in the morning, make sure you're out of immigration before your visa expires, people. Before your visa expires, they'll ask for your personal information. Are you Kenyan? Are you not? They'll ask about your national identity cards. They'll ask about your address and how long you've lived in that particular address. They'll ask you for your contact details, and then your passport data will follow. They'll ask you if you have dependents. I don't, so I just filled no. They will ask you about your parents' details. I filled my parents' details. They'll ask about your employment and how much you earn, where you work, the address of your office if you have one, so fill that accordingly. They will ask you to describe your job. I did describe my job over there. They'll ask about previous employment organizations. I think here they were asking about some specific jobs. And if you click no on most of them or all of them, then it will just bring a standard answer of I have not worked in any of the jobs listed above. So if you've worked, of course, there'll be more questions, I think. But for me, I hadn't worked on any of those jobs, so I answered no to all of them. They'll ask about your income and expenditure practice. So they'll ask if you have any savings and put that amount there, and they will ask how much money are you personally planning to spend on your visit to the UK. You need to put that there. They'll ask about how much you spend in a month. Remember when they asked about your employment, you put a figure of your salary, how much do you earn every month, and then now they ask you how much you always spend every month. So I put my figure there. Will anyone be paying for your trip? I answered no. I wish though. God, when. A moment of silence. They asked about family in the UK. To the best of my knowledge, I do not know. I do not have any family living in the UK. So I answered no to that. They will ask about your accommodation details. Please fill that in. If you have been invited by a friend, and that was my case, a friend has invited me to the UK, I put in her details as the address, because they'll ask you for the address of where you're gonna stay. So my friend's details will fall in there. When will you leave? They'll ask about when you're leaving. I think they just want emphasis because they already asked that question, right? Yeah, they're asking it again. So you see that point I was making about you making sure that you leave on or before your visa expires. They want to see if you're gonna leave. So they'll ask you that question again, when will you leave there? Then you answer. Of course, I put in my answer. They ask about your travel history to the UK. You fill that in. They ask you if you've ever applied for a visa and it was refused. That in. They ask about your travel history. They focus on the EU countries, and then Switzerland, USA, New Zealand, Canada, and Australia. So they ask you how many times have you visited the following places in the past 10 years. So you fill that in. I think they asked for 1, 2. They asked for the 2 most recent trips you made, and I filled mine in. They also asked about any other trips that you've made, the countries that are not in the EU, or New Zealand, USA, Canada, Australia, or Switzerland. Yeah, so I filled that in. There's another part for other history. They're gonna ask you a lot of questions. For me, I answered as it was brought to my attention. They ask if you have extra information. They put it there as extra information. So if you have any other extra information that you need to relay to the panel that will make a decision for your visa, this is the point. So for me, and extra info, because I think they limit you with words, I just wrote a small paragraph stating that I am a Kenyan citizen. I have a steady job and income in Kenya, just to reassure them that I'm planning to come back. I need to come back to my country and continue working. I also stated that I am applying for a visitor's visa. I also stated that I really love to travel, just for emphasis, for them to see that you're not just applying for the visa for no reason. I really love traveling, and this is one opportunity for me to do that. And then I think I put in my itinerary, a little bit of it, and then I did a commitment. I wrote a commitment saying I commit to fully obey the conditions of my tourist visa and not rely on any public services or become a burden to the state. After my trip and before the visa expires, remember, visa expiring, and before the visa expires, I shall leave the UK and return to my country of domicile, Nairobi, Kenya, where I live and have a permanent job. And then I wrote where I work. I am hoping for your kind consideration towards my tourist visa. For that extra visas, It's not compulsory, but it's wise, especially if you are trying to sell yourself. So yeah, I put that in. And then they ask the English language. We may have to talk to you about your application. Which language would you prefer we use? So put it in there. And then the mandatory documents, you need to click that you're gonna provide these particular documents because they're compulsory to be provided. Number 1 was the passport. Number 2 was evidence of funds. So with evidence of funds, you need to provide, if you're employed, you need to provide your 6 months pay slip and your 6 months backdated bank statements. If you have savings, it would be wise to provide that as well. I also provided the data of the company my friends that I are in together. I also provided, what else did I provide? I think I have it all here. But I provided my lease agreements. Yeah, it's financial in a way. Yeah, I provided the certificate of incorporation for the company and the CR12, because that's important. I provided title deeds. I always say less is more, but when you're applying for a visa, it's the other way. Especially, we are not privileged with our passport as Kenyans, so the more the better. Better provide as much as you can, as much information as you can. They say a logbook is not proof of income. ACA is a liability, so they don't really need that information from you. Yeah, I think that's basically it. That's what I provided for that one. What else do they need? Invitation. So yes, because I said I was invited by a friend, my friend had to write an invitation letter for me. I provided proof of her income, her documents of the house that she lives in. So I provided pay slips, bank statements, and that house document of wherever she lives. And then after that, you pay, because you're now done with your visa application. You make a payment. It came to 127 USD. I was about to say 127 USDT. Cryptocurrency will be the end of me. It was USD, United States dollars. So I paid that. When it came to Kenya shillings, I think it was around 15,000 at that point because of exchange rates and things like that. And then you have to consent. They will ask you to declare something there, and you click yes if you agree to that situation, and then that's it. You're done with the application of your visa. I always print all my documents. As much as with the UK visa, you can always just upload them online. For me, I'm a little bit old school, and I like to file my documents for at least 10 years, just in case. For example, you see now the UK visa application needed information for the last 10 years. So I never throw them until maybe 10 years are done, and then I will throw them and recycle the files again. But for now, application processes and visas are filed accordingly, safe in my file, my visa application file. Remember when I told you that the process of applying for a visa took me at least 2 to 3 weeks? What happened is I made the payment, and then it took a while. You know, with a visa application, you really need to husa and, you know, take your time before you do things and then make a mistake. All these things are saved on your page. You need to remember your password. So mine was automated. I kind of saved it. Don't try this at home. And I went straight to the biometric page because that is what I need. I clicked continue. They told me to wait as they redirect me accordingly. We waited. It kept loading. It loaded for a while. I was redirected straight to the TLS contact page, and they tell you they give you some services there. I chose the appointment service, self-service regular. When I got to that, I went to the next step because I didn't need anything else to do at that point, and booked my appointment. That is free. That is a free solution. So I looked at the dates that were available and took a day. I proceeded to check out. I clicked that I understand everything, and they were redirecting me now to my payment page, which I knew was coming to 0 bob. But I went with it anyway because there's nothing you can really do. So I waited, and they redirected me. Now here is a hack. When you go to TLS contact with your documents printed but not scanned, they're gonna charge you. I think the cost was coming to almost 5,000, so 4,000 and some coins. So I'll round it off to 5,000. They'll charge you to scan your documents for you. But this is a service that we currently have. There's so many scanning apps on your phone. You don't need to pay 4,000 shillings. Save that money and go buy bubble tea in London. For starters, you can do it yourself. So that is exactly what I did over here. So I went back to my TLS contact page and clicked on my application, and then they brought me to this page where I clicked self-service upload. That came up. It loaded for a minute and told me to sign into my account, which again, remember the details that I had. It was easy to do that. I logged in, and this came up. Welcome, drag or drop all your documents there. So I had a list of documents that I needed. I had already created a UK visa folder on my computer. So I just selected all of them, dropped them in there, and then I went ahead and clustered them into the categories they needed them to be clustered into as it asks. It's really straightforward. It's self-explanatory. You'll be fine. Trust me. Once you're done uploading everything onto the portal of TLS contacts, you continue to summary. If summary is in order, you submit. Documents are submitted. Now we wait. So once you have submitted the documents online and you have set a date for your appointment, just sit, relax, and wait for the date to come. TLS is also really good because they sent me a reminder, I think twice. They sent me a reminder when it was 72 hours to my D-Day and 24 hours to my D-Day that pretty much helped me remember. When the day came, I arrived there at least 5 minutes before my appointment, and then went all the way up. TLS contact offices are at 9 West. 9 West is in Westlands, near the Sarit roundabout. It's perfect. It's such a perfect destination. So for public means and private. So it was pretty convenient to get in there. Remember to carry a mask because they need you to have a mask in the TLS contact offices, at least as of August 2022. You still needed a mask. Please remember to print all your documents, all of them, everything that you submitted by scanning. Please just print and carry them, as much as you'll not need all of them. Of course, if you're gonna read with a toothpick to the T of what they say you should provide, then you're good. But if you're like me, I would rather just carry everything and go back with them than not carry it and then realize I needed that, now I'm in trouble, so, and then I start panicking. I don't like to panic. So I carried everything. They asked me to provide my appointment schedule, which I provided at the gate. And then when I went inside, they asked for my passport, my original passport. Obviously, you need to remember to carry that, your original passport, because that's where they're gonna put your visa in. So they asked me for my original passport. They asked me for page 1 of my visa application documents. So I was given a number. I was told to go wait. So my number was called. I went to the first stall. There are 2 stalls that I had to go to. So I went to the first stall where they looked at the documents that I had. So I think this is the place where if you have not uploaded your documents, you can ask them to do that for you. And if you have made mistakes, because remember you have time between when you scanned your documents and uploaded them and when your visa biometric appointment is. So you can always just go through your documents, make sure everything is in order in case they're not in order, because you technically, by scanning, you've technically not 100% submitted your application just yet. When you do your biometrics, that's when you've 100% submitted your application. So you still have room for correction. In case you have any mistake, just carry your 5,000 shillings with you. And go to TLS contact offices. So they asked me if I needed to correct anything or add any other document. I said no, everything was in order on my end. So they just scanned my passport again. I think this is free because I told them I'd scanned it and they're like, no, we still need to do it. They didn't charge me for that. He put everything together and put it in a bag and told me to go out and wait for now my official biometric appointment. So I went out there, waited for a minute or 2. It was a long time. I spent approximately a whole hour in those offices. So, and a minute or 2 does not cut it. But anyway, let me just make it look really, maybe it was a busy day when I went. Maybe you're going a good day. So I went in there, waited to be called again. When I went to the next stall, the lady told me to look at a camera up there in the sky. Okay, not the sky, but it was up there, and told me to say my name and my date of birth, which I did, my full name and my date of birth. So maybe they also need your voice as a biometric data, because why was I saying my date of birth and name out loud? Anyway, so I did that. I said my name and my date of birth, and then she told me to look at a camera, which was pretty much directed close to where I was seated, and you can't smile on these pictures, unfortunately, so I looked serious and waited for my picture to be taken, which was taken. And then she said, your application has been done, have a beautiful day. So TLS has this option where you can keep your passport in case you have to travel in between the time they're making a decision on your visa. Most of the time when you're applying for your visa, you need to leave your passport with the visa people until they make a decision. But for TLS, you have the option of keeping your passport, but you have to pay, I think it was around 10,000 shillings, give or take, so that you can keep your passport and keep on traveling. But if the case is that you're not so sure about your travel plans, but you might travel, you might not travel, what you can do is give them the passport without paying, and then just in case a plan shows up and you have to travel, you can call them and tell them, hey, something came up, I need to travel. They'll tell you, hey, pay this amount of money, the 10K, round figure again, I'm not so sure about the exact money. Once you pay that amount of money, they'll give you your passport. You'll go on your trip. When they make a decision on your passport, on your visa, they will call you and tell you to bring your passport with you. They'll put a visa or give you a letter. Hopefully they'll give you a visa. Once you get your visa, you get to travel to the UK. I am now taking a breather from the chaos that I've had this week with regards to applying for my UK passport. I'll take you through the whole process and tell you how that went. So after you've dropped your application and you've left TLS, you have to wait between 3 and 7 weeks until you get your passport and your visa in it. In between that period of time, at the TLS portal, you can see how far they have gone with your application. They will give you information. As you can see at this point, everything had been done. The only thing that was pending is for the passports to be picked by me, the applicant. So I went and picked my passport, and this is what happened when I did that. I took live footage on that day. Enjoy. I am on my way. I'm at the parking. I'm on my way to go and get the results of my visa application to the UK. The nerves, but we stay positive. We know that we have the visa, so let's get on to it. I'll keep you posted. I was planning, as soon as I received this, they give it to you in such a bag. As soon as I received it, I felt a piece of paper. So there was the passport and this piece of paper together, because you can just feel without opening it. So I wasn't so sure if it's a reject letter or whatever. So I decided, no, I'm not. I was planning. I was planning to come and we unbox. We opened the paper together, the envelope together. But then when I felt the piece of paper, I was like, I don't want to go start crying in front of a camera. So let me just open it on my own. So I opened, and then I realized, this is the application page 1 that we gave them when we were applying. Wow. And then, so I decided, okay, fine, that is not a letter, thank God. Let's open the passport. So we opened the passport. We opened, and then we found it. It's there. I don't know how I can put it without showing so much of my details, but we have a visa, and now I can visit the UK for a period of, they say a duration of 180 days, but the visa is going to expire in April 2023. I'm so happy. I had so many typos were giving me a little bit of the nerves, because I was like, oh my God, what if they don't give me the visa? The fact that my documents had a few typos, like the letter, I had dated it 15th August 2012. I missed 12. I did 2012 instead of 2022. It was too much. It was nerve-wracking, but I'm happy. I'm really happy I got it. So I guess we will explore the UK soon together. See you then. I guess the FAQ here would be how much is too much, or how much is enough to be in my account when I am applying for a visa to the UK. Well, I don't think there's a standard figure that they will look for, but I know you need to consider a few things. For example, how much you plan to spend in your trip to the UK. A lot of articles say around £100 per day, including accommodation. So if you already have accommodation, if you're being invited and a friend is offering that to you, or whoever else, then you don't need that covered. So I guess it can go down to around £50 a day. The other thing they will have to see is your monthly income. You need to have a steady and consistent income that you can show proof that, first of all, you're able to afford this trip, hence you'll not be a burden to the state in the UK, and also that you're able to come back to your country and continue getting income pretty much. The other question will be this: if you have sufficient funds to sustain your trip to the UK, and also when you're coming back to your country, you're able to keep on surviving. So I guess if you stated that your UK expense, because remember when you were going through the application, they asked you how much you plan to spend, and maybe you said 200,000 shillings for the period of time that you'll be there. Now you need to show that you have savings that are double, at least double that amount, so that you're not coming back to the country flat-footed with no money to survive after you're back from the UK. So you need to show that you have savings that are enough to sustain your trip to the UK and your trip back to Kenya. And then you also need to show that you have savings. You need to show that savings are growing continually, that you have not put in money just before your application. That might be a little bit fraudulent if you ask me. So don't put money in your account just before you make your application to the UK, unless of course it's really the situation that you really just got paid or something like that. Don't go borrowing money and then you put it in your account and then hope that they will see that that's your money. It's gonna backfire on you. So yeah, that's pretty much when it comes to money, and really that's always the big thing. They want to see that you're able to sustain yourself when you're in the UK, and you're able to come back to your country and continue surviving, so that UK is equal the thing that made you broke and bankrupt, if you know what I mean. So yeah, all the best when you start your application process. I'm wishing you the very best, and yeah, let's go travel to the UK. I'll see you there. You'll see me there. We'll see each other there. Kudos.